Hi, I'm Becky Bradley, and this is the Feel Good Always podcast. This is real stories of love, connection, and remembering who we are. And today on the podcast, I'm going to be sharing about oxygen mask first. So that's really talking about how do we come back in? How do we take care of ourselves? How do we preserve our energy so that we can really do what we're being asked to do in the world? Because we all have our individual missions here. And it is so important that we take care of ourselves first. So if you're new here, I'm glad you're here. If you've been listening, thanks for following along. If you clicked on this, I think, thinking about let's take care of ourselves first because life can get overwhelming, especially in our culture, especially at this time of the year. We can get burnout, and we really have to consistently remember to come back into ourselves, to come back into taking care of ourselves, going inward. On this podcast, I share a lot about moving into higher levels of consciousness, signs, synchronicity, the truth that only love is real, because these are all things that are true, and I'm just sharing them with you. It's what I am being asked to do. If you're new here, my daughter was in a UTV accident at 15 years old, and it was fatal. This is, of course, a really very sad thing. And what that did is it opened me up to this massive connection to her on the other side, and really all of these beings that are helping bring this onto the earth. So if you're here for that, there's lots of podcasts that I've recorded about that. And sometimes it's really just very simple of they are helping us give this message. Our lives are showing us. It's all very divinely orchestrated. So when my life starts pulling on me, when things start breaking or I get sick or my plans fall apart and it seemingly keeps happening, instead of thinking, wow, what is going wrong here? Like I don't even use the word wrong or right. It might seemingly feel like it's wrong, but it's really my life asking me to come back into myself. So we can talk about signs, synchronicity, awakening all day long, but really none of that matters if we aren't grounded in our own energy first. So that's what I'm going to talk about. Oxygen mask first, and what it really means to take care of ourselves when life gets overwhelming. And as we continue to practice that, we can stay calm in the center of what other people might seemingly think is something really bad. It's not bad or good. I can watch it. I can stay calm. It doesn't mean that things might not be hard. It just means that I can stay calm. And life can feel overwhelming. It can feel like it's too much. The pace speeds up. My field can get chaotic. Things break. We get sick. Our plans fall apart. There's all these different ways. Our kids can get sick. Our dogs can get sick. And what I've learned, especially over the last couple of years since Kira died, it's not happening because I'm doing something wrong. It's happening because I'm being asked to come back to myself. I am very aware when stuff doesn't feel aligned that I really need to come back and preserve my energy. So we can't do this higher consciousness thing and awakening and just bypass taking care of ourselves. It won't be sustainable if I'm not grounded, if I don't protect my own energy first. So I'm really been sharing a lot of stuff here on this podcast. I share a lot of stuff through Kira Bradley Foundation. I'm really putting out a lot of energy, which I believe I'm being fed that energy from the angels. But when things start feeling misaligned, I don't go, oh, wow, something's wrong. I just know that it's time for me to take a break. And this is what I'm being asked to embody by my life and to share and to show you. It's really this new paradigm of service that we don't abandon ourselves to help. So when my own life starts to get crazy and chaotic, I don't immediately go, oh my gosh, but I got to get on the podcast, but I got to post on social media. They need me. No. Okay. When my whole body is saying no and my field is showing me a lot of things seem to be not feeling aligned, it's really showing me that I need to come back into myself over and over and over again. And that is really how we move into these higher levels of consciousness, not by forcing ourselves to hold the world together, but to come back into ourselves. So again, oxygen mask. And I am going to say 5 things. I know there's more than 5 things, but I know sometimes it's easy to just be, these are the 5 things that we can do when life feels overwhelming. And really, we can know that these moments are part of our awakening. They're part of living at this higher level of consciousness, learning to be unattached to what's happening. It doesn't mean that we don't feel it. It means that we can stay calm in the storm. And I have other people around me that are connected to this beautiful energy that are watching themselves in things that they would have lived through before and felt very chaotic and anxious about, fearful, and they're not feeling that way. And they're just like, wow, I'm calm. It doesn't mean that it's not hard. It just means that it's calm. And the more we soften into being unattached and taking care of ourselves, the more we remember that we don't have to control everything. We just have to try to stay aligned. And there's a reason that our life pulls us into these things, that we get sick, that our kids get sick, that the dog gets sick, that the plans fall apart, that you spill the coffee, or that your bank account goes overdrawn. So here's the thing. We can hear the phrase oxygen mask first all the time, but a lot of people don't actually live it. I mean, we try, but we really have to keep coming back to it. Okay. So especially the people that are highly intuitive, highly sensitive, highly creative, deeply connected, and the healers that are out there helping people, the mothers that are trying to raise their children and be really intentional about that, the ones that can feel what's happening in the collective in their bodies, people like us, we have to really come back into ourselves instead of overriding and pushing through. We can't do that. You can't save the world and push through the actual feelings. And so we don't want to override ourselves. We don't want to say yes when we're tired. We don't want to say yes when we're depleted. Like in the past, maybe you would show up for something and you would do it just because you feel like you have to. Now we actually need the energy, because as we rise into these higher levels of consciousness, our bodies, our fields become more sensitive, not less. And when we drift out of alignment, we feel it instantly. If you are used to chaos and you start feeling a lot of calm, the second a little bit of chaos comes in, you will feel it, which is interesting because you would think that you wouldn't be that sensitive to it, but this is the truth. And the universe will show us that things start to fall apart, not like because we did something wrong, not because we're being punished, but just like as a communication, as guidance. I've learned it so many times throughout my life. If I start going in too many directions, running the foundation, recording episodes, writing, posting, holding space for others, taking care of my family, I can get pulled back. Something might break. I'll get sick. I'll get a clear no in my field. Being deeply connected to the other side, receiving signs, living in synchronicity, none of that means that we stop being human. You're going to get overwhelmed. You're still going to have days that your whole body is like, we're done, especially when you're moving into these higher levels of consciousness, because the body is processing so much energy. So you're still going to have those moments here in life where your field gets pulled in 100 different directions. We're human. The difference is what you do with it. Okay. In the old paradigm, we pushed through, we forced, we overrode the signs, we abandoned ourselves, and we're not going to do that anymore. We really can't. In this new levels of consciousness, this new earth, the path is different. We have to be kinder. We have to really question what we're doing here. And maybe that means that you're getting in bed at 5 p.m. If it's not a full body, yes, it's a no. If your body needs rest, please listen. If your field gets chaotic, your life feels chaotic, you immediately slow down. So like if your intuition and all the signs start to get quiet, it is a message to come home to yourself. That is what I mean when I say oxygen mask first. So I want to walk you through these 5 practices that are going to help you come back to yourself every time life starts to pull. And I want to make sure that these practices are things that you're kind of always doing, that we don't have to wait. But really, when stuff starts to get out of line, just remembering that these are the tools, they help keep me grounded while receiving the biggest downloads of my life. And I know that as I have been able to be expanded, where my nervous system can handle more and more, I continue to have to come back in to really integrate all of these things that happen. So the number one thing would be to pause before you respond. If someone sends you a message or asks you to do something, we have so many times we're just automatically, oh yeah, I could do that. And we need to pause with a text, a request, an invitation. We can just say yes out of habit instead of really out of alignment, because our body will tell you instantly if something is a yes or a no. But I know in the past, I won't listen to the no, and I'll think, okay, right now, I feel like I totally don't want to do that, but maybe in a few days, but because it's 2 weeks away, maybe I'll want to do it. But I don't do that anymore. If I am getting a no right now, when you ask me to do something, it is still going to be a no 2 weeks from now. So listen to that. If someone asks you to do something and in that moment you're like, Ain't no way I can do that right now." If you can't do it right now, if you wouldn't get up to go do it right now, say no. It's okay to say no. So really pausing before we say yes and listening to ourselves, because our bodies will tell us. We will feel a yes or a no, but then the mind will start to tell you, you have to do it, you can't say no. So we pause. We don't answer immediately, not to the text, the email, the request, the invitation. We have to give ourselves space to feel what's true before we speak. So that pausing is so super important. And then a second thing you can do for this idea of oxygen mask first is to let things fall off your plate. Like in the last few weeks, I had a lot of stuff happen and I turned things away. I said no, I canceled. And guess what? I could cancel and be okay with it. It's really so simple to say, I'm not going to do it. Canceling the plan, rescheduling something. I actually canceled a lot of stuff and didn't even reschedule it because the idea of having it on my calendar was too much. So we can push a deadline, let the laundry sit, order food, don't go to the grocery store, ask for help, whatever it is. If you can drop something, drop it once you're feeling overwhelmed. Like I said, you can crawl into bed and be in bed at 5 p.m., but really just trying to open your schedule. I know for me, I can be really busy and full, even if it's self care stuff, and just really like looking at what I have given myself obligations to do and be willing to say no to them. It's not about being lazy, it's about acknowledging how much capacity we have. Our energy is so precious. And every time we let something go, our field relaxes, we become more available to ourselves and really in turn to everybody else. And then our intuition gets louder and we can hear ourselves. The third thing that I'll say is really coming back into our bodies. This is the one that saved me after Kira died. I walked. I sat outside. Doesn't mean that I felt good, you guys. I felt horrible, but I did come into my body. I sat in meditation. I put my bare feet in the earth. I very often go to the river and just stand there and let myself feel the energy of the water, feel my feet on the ground. I practice yoga. I just like come into like really getting quieting the mind and listening to the breath. Going outside in the morning as soon as you wake and just letting the sun hit your face. But remember, we're not doing these things as a checklist. We're really just trying to come back into the body, even when things feel overwhelming, just breathing, feeling your body, allowing yourself to just be here with no agenda and just take care of ourselves. This is that idea of taking care of ourselves. We have to remember that our nervous systems, they need to be grounded and to be able to feel calm when a lot of stuff is going on, because that grounding really is medicine and our bodies are the way home to that beautiful connection. It is through really feeling deeply what it means to be human and questioning all of the things that culture asks us to do. So really just coming back into your body, your breath, feet on the ground, air on your skin, all of that is where the clarity and the direction lives, that we can get that guidance from our higher selves, from all of the beings that are trying to help us, the universe, God, Mother Earth herself. It's all coming through the body. And it's actually kind of amazing to like think about that, like we're just taking these bodies through life sometimes pushing, but just continuing to come back in and like, thank you for this human body. And I will let you rest and I will feel you and I'll ask you for what you need. So that is one thing you can do, coming into your body. And this leads us to the fourth thing, which is kind of like earlier when I said pause when you respond. And I kind of talked about saying no. We can say no. Okay, so number 4 is say no. We don't even have to explain ourselves. We can just say no. I'm really working on this one too. Learning to say no, not having to justify it. It took Kira dying for me to be able to say no and not worry about feeling obligated that I might hurt somebody's feelings, because saying no, that I don't have the energy for it. And I've done that multiple times in the last few weeks. I'm just going to say I had a very close friend's birthday. It was an important birthday. It was her 50th birthday. I love her. She has shown up for me. And I had a lot of friends coming into town. My whole body was like, no, I'm not going. I really just was in bed that night instead, which is so wild. I watching myself, be able to say no and surrounding myself with beautiful humans that aren't going to give me a hard time, that they understand because all of them are practicing this same thing too. It's really saying no is a clear spiritual boundary. It's a really like a boundary of saying, I have to take care of myself. I don't even know why. I just know that I'm not supposed to go. So, really, a clean no, it can really shift your frequency and it teaches you in your field that we are listening. It's really showing that our energy matters. I mean, as I move into these higher levels of consciousness, Kira will say in her channelings lately, high vibration feeds high vibration. And that really that everything I do has to be an energy match and a high vibrating thing, which I'm like, wow, that is a lot. That's a big ask, but I still continue to listen. So when I say no, I'm not attached. I can walk away. I can reschedule. I can pause. I can say no and trust that everyone will be fine without me. It's at this level of unattachment that allows me to be of service to all of you without draining myself. I didn't post a podcast for like 2 weeks. Guess what? I knew you would all survive because I can't do this work without taking care of myself first. So it allows me to hold space when I say now without carrying other people's energy or worrying what they're going to think or what I owe them or, oh, it'll be so sad if I'm not there. It really allows me to channel this energy to you without burning out. So, where in your life, when you say no to somebody, are you really saying yes to yourself and really saying yes to the entire collective? Because you're coming back in, you're feeding yourself so that you can this beautiful energy out into the world. So your no to something that is not aligned is a doorway back to yourself. And in turn, when we're coming back to ourselves, we're coming back to the entire collective. And the fifth and final thing that I'll say is really returning to your essentials, like the things that practices that already help you. So if you are lucky enough to already have some practices in place, I'm going to list some of mine. You can start with those if you don't have practices, but when you feel at peace, I want you to think, what is going on around me that I've been doing that I feel at peace? So coming back to those things that help you feel at peace, if you're not already doing them, walking, writing, meditation, yoga, breath work, nature, talking on the phone to a friend, journaling, laying in bed, maybe it's watching TV. I mean, that is totally fine. Whatever it is that brings you back to peace, taking your dog for a walk, not doing a stressful, hard workout or yoga class. Sometimes that's what I have to do. I really have to just kind of change the way I do things. That helps reconnect me. It brings me back to peace. When Kira died, these are a lot of things that I did, and it did feel really hard, but it did bring me back to peace. It brought me back to knowing that peace was always possible, even if it was just for a second. And our souls already know the way. We just have to remember to listen and constantly question society that will tell us something different, that we need to be overdoing, saying yes, all of that. No, we don't. We can take care of ourselves. So if you're feeling burned out, overwhelmed, if life is pulling on you, if everything feels like too much, you're not doing something wrong. It's just a sign that you need to recorrect and come back into yourself. It's just asking you to come deeper into yourself, to go inward. So when it feels like it's a breakdown, it's really a recalibration of your energy. So everything is happening as it should. These pauses in our lives, it's really just protecting our field. We're coming into more alignment, and saying no is being in alignment. Taking care of yourself first is okay. You use your own discernment. If I know some people will feel like they might be in bed all day and they need to say yes to things, but use your own discernment. Okay. Are you saying yes for someone else? Or are you saying yes for yourself? So every moment that you come back to yourself, our fields, the universe, God, they rearrange to meet us where we're at. And this is how we rise into these higher levels of consciousness. We really just embody it. We stay connected, and it's how we feel good always. Not by bypassing our lives, but by meeting it fully grounded, present, and aligned. So thank you for listening today. I hope that you can find some calm in your day, and that you can share this with someone else that might need to hear this message. And I wanted to mention that we have a Costa Rica giveaway that is going on through the Becky Bradley Foundation. It is really a giveaway. You can donate to the foundation. It's $22 to enter, or you can get 5 entries for $111, or 15 entries for $222. And what's amazing about this is like $22 gets you entered. That money goes to help foster kids through the foundation, but also whoever wins this trip is going to get to go to Costa Rica for 8 days, 7 nights, airfare, everything included. It's an amazing giveaway. It's one of the things that Kira was able to let me know, that she says, we already know who's won. Maybe it's you. I don't know. I just know that we're doing this. So it's an amazing opportunity to raise money for foster kids. And then at the same time, it's also an amazing opportunity to give somebody a trip to Costa Rica, which is like oxygen mask first, taking care of ourselves, going and traveling, going and feeling that connection to Pura Vida. So thank you so much for listening. Follow along in your podcast app if you're listening on there, or subscribe on YouTube. I really appreciate you all. So until next time, I hope that you live in peace and you take care of yourself this week. I love you all. Thanks for listening.